Alright, let's lay out the criteria before we begin. We're going off map layout, vibes, enjoyability, and replayability, which will all combine together to give us our tier. Let's get into it. We'll be starting out with No Mercy, and then jumping to Dead Center, and continuing that trend from Left 4 Dead 2 maps to Left 4 Dead 1 maps. Alright, getting into No Mercy. We have map layout at 7 out of 10. Vibes, 6.5 out of 10. That might be like a more hot take, I guess. But I personally, I enjoy the vibe of it, but I'm more... there's other maps that I enjoy the vibes of way more. Enjoyability 8 out of 10, and replayability 8 out of 10. If you've ever done like versus or even just regular campaigns, No Mercy is so strong in almost like every category. Like it is a great campaign. Like it is amazing. High A tier. Now jumping to Dead Center, the starting map of Left 4 Dead 2, we'll go with a map layout of 6 out of 10, which might be a crazy take, according to some people, but I fucking stand by it. It's not that amazing. Like, half the campaign is kind of mid, though admittedly the starting campaign is probably one of the best that is just in the game. Like, it's a really good introduction. For vibes, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I mean, there isn't much of like a giant energy to it, I guess, that I was like, oh wow, this is very atmospheric. For enjoyability, I gave it a 6 out of 10 because it's definitely not unenjoyable, but there's just far more fun campaigns out there. And replayability, I gave it a 5 out of 10, which I know might get me crucified, but personally, after I play Dead Center, I'm good for like a few months, honestly. High C tier. Alright, so we finally make it to Crash Course, which is not a completed campaign in my opinion, which will kind of be hypocritical later down the tier list, but it's just not good. Like, it's really not good. Like, they don't do it very well. For map layout, I gave it a 2 out of 10, vibes 4 out of 10, enjoyability 1 out of 10, replayability also 1 out of 10. Like, playing Crash Course once in your entire life should be more than enough for a sane individual. This is an F tier. The passing was honestly a map that I never really played much before. Like, I might have played the passing like 3 or 4 times in my entire life before collecting this footage for this video. And honestly, it's aight. Like, the map layout, I would say, is a 5 out of 10. Though for vibes, the vibes are very strong with this one. The passing has some very strong atmosphere, in my opinion. I think it uses rain. Ironically, I think it uses rain better than hard rain. And oh boy, are we gonna get to that. For enjoyability, I gave it a 5 out of 10, and
replayability
4 out of 10, because, yeah, while it was kind of a pleasant surprise that I didn't utterly hate it, it's a very short campaign with only 3 levels, and, yeah, there was nothing about it that made me go, 'Oh, I want to play this again.' C tier.
replayability 4 out of 10 replayability 1 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 out of 10 rep
Now, a map that did surprise me when I went back to replay it after so long of not playing it was Death Toll. One of my hottest Left 4 Dead 2 takes, or I guess Left 4 Dead 1 in this context, was that Death Toll was alright. But when I went back to replay it by myself, was I fucking surprised. It was honestly, like, Death Toll is honestly one of the funnest maps that I've ever, like, played to this date. I just had, like, I don't know why it didn't click before. For map layout, 7.5 out of 10. Vibes, 7 out of 10. Enjoyability, 8 out of 10. Replayability, 7 out of 10. Just, Death Toll is a really, really, really good map. Like, even the urban areas that I was like, ooh, I don't really like this. They weren't bad, like, at all. Like, they were, like, it was far worse in my head than what it actually was. Like, it isn't bad, like, at all. And the ending, like, the campaign, at the ending of the campaign, that shit goes really hard. That has some, that is a really fun in-game campaign. I give this high A tier. I think Dark Carnival is so iconic that even people who haven't ever played Left 4 Dead 2 a day in their life could probably recognize some images, screenshots, or, like, locations in the map. That is how iconic I think Dark Carnival is. Like, from versus to campaign, it slaps so fucking hard, and I know the Buzz Lightyear meme is really hitting hard right now, but I don't fucking care. It's the goddamn truth. Map layout, 8 out of 10. Vibes, 8 out of 10. Enjoyability, 8 out of 10. Replayability, 10 out of 10. I could play Dark Carnival back to back to back to back over and over and over and over again and not complain. S tier. Bouncing from that to another fucking fantastic map is Dead Air. Now, I might lose some people when I say this, but I think Dead Air's map layout is actually better than Dark Carnival's. Yep, I know. Crazy. Map layout, 9 out of 10. Though, I will say this, I think Dark Carnival has better vibes than Dead Air. I think the atmosphere and the aura of Dark Carnival, how it's so, I guess, iconic and how it's so connected to just the overall, like, feel of Left 4 Dead outweighs Dead Air's 6 out of 10 vibes. Enjoyability, though, I also think it's an 8 out of 10. But replayability, I would say it's a 6 out of 10. Like, I wouldn't necessarily complain if I had to play Dead Air 2 times in a row, but it wouldn't be optimal. It wouldn't be something I'd be super, like, happy about. I would give Dead Air the highest A tier. Jumping from Dead Air to Swamp Fever is kind of a whiplash, I'm not gonna lie. Because while Dead Air, I think, in most regards, is just really, really good. Like, it is undeniably one of the best, like, Left 4 Dead maps, period. Swamp Fever, I think, is really hit or miss, to be honest. I really do think it's hit or miss. And I think a lot of people would probably proudly say that Swamp Fever is not good. Which is fair, because if you don't vibe with the atmosphere of Swamp Fever, you probably won't like the map. I mean, even in my case, someone who does find some enjoyability with Swamp Fever, I still think it's only a 5 out of 10 on map layout. But going from that, the atmosphere, the vibes of Swamp Fever is unmatched. Like, no other map is so distinctive, in my opinion, as Swamp Fever. Like, no map has that level of, oh yeah, that map is that map, like, exactly. Like, no other map has that level of distinction, in my opinion. as the 10 out of 10 in vibes for Swamp Fever. Though I do think the enjoyability is 6 out of 10 and replayability is 4 out of 10. I would definitely not want to do it. Like, I would not want to play Swamp Fever 2 times in a row. Definitely not. But because of how much vibes and how distinctive Swamp Fever is, I think that alone puts it in B tier. Now this might be one of my hottest, like, Left 4 Dead takes, just period. But I quite enjoy Blood Harvest. To be completely honest, I really do enjoy Blood Harvest. I know it's not a very popular map amongst a lot of people, and I know a lot of people would say that various other maps are better than Blood Harvest. And you know what? You're entitled to your wrong opinion. With a map layout of 6 out of 10, admittedly, it's nothing like kooky or crazy, but it's not a bad map layout by any means. Like, I have fun and enjoy it other than the swamp, or not the swamp, like the sewer area. I think the sewer area is kind of a little bit of a drop-off. But besides that, yeah. For vibes, I think it's an 8 out of 10. Because, man, I do enjoy the energy of Blood Harvest. Just the outback, like wilderness, but not in the way of, like, Coldstream. Like, just centralized enough, if that makes sense, but being still far away. I don't know why, but I really enjoy that vibe. Enjoyability for me is a 7 out of 10. I always have a good time playing Blood Harvest. Like, without fail. But replayability, 5 out of 10 for sure. Like, I definitely don't want... Like, I wouldn't be pleased if I had to do it all over again, but I wouldn't, like, groan and roll my eyes. I'd give it a low A tier. Okay, so, Hard Rain. Let's talk about it. The map layout, in my opinion, is 2 out of 10, because, alright, let me say this before we continue any further. Hard Rain is worse than Crash Course, because, while don't get me wrong, Crash Course isn't even a completed campaign, and I acknowledge that, it's only fucking 2, levels, that's not a completed campaign. Hard Rain just copies and pastes its first, 2 areas, and then just pretend, and then makes it worse by making you fucking blind, more than half the time, and then makes you run at two times less speed in the fucking water. It's awful. It sucks dick. And don't get me started on the witch placements, because in theory, I think the witch place, having a bunch of witches in one area is a good idea for just one area. In my opinion, I think that's a great idea. That's really fun. But they just fucking do it everywhere. And then mix that with not even being able to fucking hear anything because the rain is so goddamn loud. And not being able to see anything because the rain is just so damn thick. It fucking sucks. It's miserable. And even the ending campaign, it sucks dick. It fucking sucks. I don't understand how anyone can like Hard Rain. Okay, if you like playing as Helen Keller, then I can see why you would like playing Hard Rain. Map layout, 2 out of 10. Vibes, admittedly, is a 5 out of 10. The rain that I hate so much does give it some distinction, even though it's fucking annoying. Enjoyability, 0 out of 10. Replayability, 0 out of 10. This is so shit that it gets its own fucking tier. It sucks dick. The Sacrifice is a map that I might have played once, maybe twice in my entire life. The Sacrifice, it was interesting. It was definitely interesting. When I was maneuvering around it, because I basically went into this blind, admittedly. It wasn't a very confusing map layout, but I don't know. It didn't really stick with me. I wasn't oh my god, this map layout was super fun. I give it a 5 out of 10. And for vibes, I'd also give it a 5 out of 10. Because it does have some atmosphere, but not a lot, in my opinion. Enjoyability, though, 6 out of 10. But I also think that could be, unfamiliarity bias. It was, pretty much new to me, so of course it would be more intriguing to me. But replayability, 3 out of 10. If you told me I could never play the Sacrifice again for the rest of my fucking life, I'd be fine with it. Honestly, I wouldn't complain. C tier. The Parish is one of the maps of all time, not in like a bad way. Yeah, I guess that's all I can really say about it. I mean, that bridge extension, admittedly, in my opinion, is probably one of the most fun areas in all of Left 4 Dead. Just period. I love the bridge area so much. It is so iconic. But despite that, I do think it's only a 6 out of 10 on map layout. Vibes is a 4 out of 10 for me. I don't think the atmosphere of the Parish is really, like... It doesn't impact me a lot, to be completely honest. Like, even with the jets literally fucking bombing, just, like, everything, I don't know. It just didn't, like, it didn't entrance me at all, to be honest. Enjoyability, though, 7 out of 10. It was a really fun experience playing the Parish again. Because that's a map that I used to play, like, a lot back in, like, the early days of me getting into the game. But then as, you know, time went on, I stopped playing it as, like, almost entirely. Replayability, 6 out of 10. I could play it twice, like, over. I could. B tier. The Last Stand was honestly kind of a surprise to me. The Last Stand is, basic, okay, you're gonna have to hear me out on this one. The Last Stand is Crash Course, but if Crash Course was good. And which I said, like, I said this earlier, that I would sound really hypocritical when I was like, well, it's not even a complete campaign, it's only two levels. Yes, I still think that, but I think in the case of The Last Stand, they truly make the most out of it, and do everything that Crash Course was trying to do, but made it, like, way more fun. Like, they incorporate, like, almost all the elements in every, like, Left 4 Dead, like, experience, and then put it into one map, and it weaves together, like, really beautifully, and it makes for a super fun experience, despite it only being 2 chapters. I do think it's only a 5 out of 10 on map layout, but for atmosphere, the atmosphere of The Last Stand is definitely a 7 out of 10. It is impactful to me. Enjoyability, 8 out of 10. I had a lot of fun playing The Last Stand, which was a great surprise to me. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a map I played a lot of, so it could be, like I said before, being unfamiliar and therefore having a bias, because, oh, look at this new sparkly thing. But it was really fun. Like, I had a lot of fun playing The Last Stand. And for replayability, I'd say 6 out of 10. It being so short can help with that. And, I mean, it's fun. It's really fun, so I could definitely play it twice over.
High B tier.
Ellis?
Got a charger around.
I've never seen him loose these.
I need some help.
We're kind of ending this on a wet fart, though, with Coldstream. Coldstream, I mean, once again, Buzz Lightyear meme here. I just don't think Coldstream is that good. Like, yeah, it has, like... It does have some parts that are, like, notable, and those some parts are the only reason why it can claim a 5 out of 10 on map layout. But for vibes, I think it's only a 4 out of 10. And that might surprise you, because, like, oh, you like Blood Harvest, and you think Blood Harvest has some, like, amazing vibes, and Blood Harvest and Coldstream have similar, like, atmosphere. Fucking wrong. That is not true. Blood Harvest does what Coldstream tries to do, or maybe doesn't try to do. I honestly couldn't tell you. Just way better. Like, I enjoy the more, the gloominess of, like, Blood Harvest, and the way they, like, pronounce the nature aspect of it so much more than Coldstream. Also, that, like, opening shit with, like, the title above the characters' heads and stuff, what the fuck was that? Like, no other Left 4 Dead map has that, what the fuck? For vibes, yeah, only 4 out of 10. Enjoyability, also a 4 out of 10. I didn't have that much fun with it. It's Coldstream. Replayability, 3 out of 10. I could die happily knowing that I'd never play Coldstream again. I wouldn't give it an F tier because it isn't, like, fucking deplorable. Like, it isn't Crash Course or anything. But it's not on the same level as, like, Dead Center. So, D tier. If you have made it to the end, I appreciate it. You're probably one of my friends if you made it this far. Thanks for watching this. I hope you enjoy my objectively correct opinions. Yeah. See ya.